The return the world waited in silence as Keanu Reeves stepped onto the dimly lit stage. Cameras flashed, whispers filled the hall, and every eye turned toward him. He had vanished for years, leaving behind unanswered questions and unfinished stories. Now his quiet return felt like the beginning of something deeper. He stood still for a moment, his eyes calm yet heavy with memories. The audience expected a speech about his new film, but Keanu's heart carried another message. Somewhere in the front row sat Ana de Armas, her gaze steady, filled with emotion he could not avoid. This was not just a movie announcement. It was a moment of truth. The story began years ago, before fame became a burden. Back then, Keanu believed that kindness could heal everything. He helped strangers, supported young actors, and treated every crew member with respect. Hollywood called him strange for living simply, for riding the subway, for giving away most of his salary. But Keanu never cared. He believed humility was strength. Then came a night that changed everything. A call from Ana shattered his calm life. She spoke through tears, telling him something he never expected. It was about a secret sacrifice, a hidden act that had saved his name years ago, one he never knew about. Ana's voice trembled, and before she could finish, the line went silent. Since that day, Keanu disappeared from the spotlight. People made stories, rumors spread, but he stayed quiet. No one knew where he went. Only Ana carried the truth, a truth she promised to reveal when the time was right. Now, years later, the lights of Hollywood once again fell on him, but this time his eyes were not on the cameras. They were on Ana. She nodded slightly as if telling him it's time. The crowd cheered as the producer announced their new film, Ballerina, the next chapter of the John Wick universe. But behind the scenes, another story began, one of sacrifice, forgiveness, and a bond that had survived silence. As Keanu smiled for the cameras, Ana whispered, "They will finally know why you left." His smile faded for a second, then returned, calm and humble. He knew this journey would not be about fame. It would be about truth. The hidden letter. The night after the event, Keanu sat alone in his quiet Los Angeles home. The city lights flickered through the glass walls, painting his face with soft shadows. Fame had returned to him, but peace had not. He kept thinking about Ana's words, about the truth she said the world would soon know. He opened a small wooden box that had followed him everywhere since the day he disappeared. Inside lay an old folded letter, its edges worn with time. It was written by someone he had never met, but whose kindness had changed his life forever. The letter began with the words, "You may not know me, but I saved you once." Years ago, during the early days of his fame, Keanu was accused of something he never did. His career was collapsing and his friends turned away. Only one unknown person sent evidence that cleared his name, a person who asked for nothing in return. That person never revealed who they were. Now, through Ana, Keanu had learned that the letter was connected to her. Ana had once told him that kindness was not about being seen, but about being remembered by the right heart. Back then, he did not understand. But tonight, staring at the letter, he finally began to feel its weight. Suddenly, his phone buzzed. Ana's message appeared on the screen. "Come to the studio tomorrow, there's something you need to see." The next morning, Keanu arrived before dawn. The studio was empty except for a few dim lights. Ana stood near the center, holding an envelope. Her eyes were tired but sincere. "This belonged to someone who worked on your first film," she said softly. "He was a stunt coordinator. He died years ago, but before he passed, he gave me this letter. He said you deserved to know." Keanu opened the envelope slowly. Inside was another letter, handwritten, shaky but honest. The words struck deep. "I took the blame for the accident that could have ended your career. You were innocent, but someone had to stay silent. I did it because I saw how you treated everyone with respect, even the ones others ignored." Keanu's hands trembled. The stuntman's name was Marcus Hale. He remembered him, a quiet man who once smiled and said, "You're a good one, kid." Keanu had no idea that Marcus had sacrificed his own name for him. Ana watched quietly as tears filled his eyes. "He was my father," she said finally. The room fell silent. Keanu looked at her, stunned. The truth hit like a wave. Every memory, every silence, every act of kindness she showed toward him now made sense. Ana continued, "He never wanted you to know. But when he was dying, he told me that someday, if you ever lost faith in kindness, I should remind you what it truly means." Keanu closed his eyes, breathing deeply. The man who had saved him was gone, but his lesson had lived through his daughter. The film Ballerina was no longer just a movie. It was now a tribute. As the first rays of sunlight entered the studio, Keanu whispered, "Then let's tell his story." Ana nodded, her eyes bright with emotion. "We already are," but neither of them knew that the studio had been recording every word from the hidden security cameras. And someone was watching. The watcher in the dark the following week, the film set buzzed with excitement. Everyone celebrated the reunion of Keanu Reeves and Ana de Armas. Interviews filled social media, and news outlets called it the most anticipated film of the decade. But behind the flashing cameras, something unseen was unfolding. Late one evening, when most of the crew had left, Anna stayed behind to review the day's footage. As she scrolled through the recordings, she noticed a file she didn't recognize. It was labeled Studio Cam 17 Restricted Access. She clicked it, expecting a test shot. Instead, her screen filled with a live feed, Keanu and her speaking in the empty studio from that morning when she gave him the letter. Her heartbeat quickened. Someone had recorded their private conversation without permission. The file had been uploaded only hours after their meeting. Her first thought was fear, but her second was anger. Who would do this and why? The next day, she met Keanu on set. He was rehearsing a fight scene, his movements sharp yet graceful. When the take ended, she approached him quietly. "We need to talk," she whispered. They stepped aside near the edge of the set where the lights dimmed. Anna showed him the video on her tablet. Keanu watched silently, his face unreadable. When the clip ended, he said in a calm but firm tone, "This is not an accident. Someone wants this out." Anna frowned. "But why? It's just a private moment." He looked toward the production office. "Not for everyone. There are people who still believe I got away easy back then. Maybe they want to destroy the truth before it spreads." Anna realized the danger. The story of her father's sacrifice could rewrite how the world saw Keanu's past. And some people, especially those who had once accused him, might not want that truth exposed. Later that night, Keanu drove to his old apartment downtown, the one he used to stay in before fame. He needed time to think. The walls were bare, the air still. He sat on the floor, holding the letter again, reading Marcus Hale's words in silence. Suddenly, he noticed something odd. At the bottom of the page, faintly written, were two words: Project Dancer. The next day, Keanu mentioned it to Anna. Her expression changed instantly. "That's strange," she said. Project Dancer was the early code name for Ballerina. It's been used by the studio for years. They exchanged a tense glance. Marcus had written that letter long before the movie even existed. How could he have known that name? As they searched deeper, Anna found a series of old production logs under her father's name. One document stood out. It mentioned a secret file connected to Project Dancer stored in the studio archives. That night, they sneaked into the studio's data center. The corridors were silent, the air cold. Security cameras rotated slowly, and Anna moved with practiced caution. Keanu followed, his steps quiet but firm. They reached the archive room. Anna entered a password only her father could have known. His old stunted the door clicked open. Inside, countless tapes and drives lined the shelves. She found a small drive labeled MH Project Dancer. Before she could pocket it, a red light blinked from the corner of the ceiling. The camera had spotted them. A mechanical voice echoed, "Unauthorized access detected." Alarms blared. Keanu grabbed Anna's hand. "We need to go." They ran down the corridor as security lights flashed red. Footsteps echoed behind them. They barely made it to the back exit before the doors locked. Outside, the city air felt heavy. Keanu looked back at the building, his jaw tight. Anna clutched the drive, breathing fast. "Someone doesn't want this truth to come out," she said. Keanu nodded, eyes filled with resolve. "Then we'll make sure it does." What they didn't see was a shadow watching from across the street, holding a phone, speaking softly into it. "They found the file," the voice said. "Initiate the next step." The voice behind the camera the next morning, Keanu woke up to a series of missed calls and one message that froze him in place. It was a short video clip sent from an unknown number. The screen showed Anna walking alone in the studio parking lot the previous night, clutching the drive in her hand. A distorted voice said, "You should have left the past buried." Keanu's hands tightened around the phone. Whoever this was, they had access to the studio's surveillance system and knew every move they made. He rushed to Anna's apartment only to find her door slightly open. His heart raced. He stepped inside carefully. The lights were off, the air cold. Then from the kitchen, a voice said softly, "You're late." Anna stepped out, holding a mug of coffee. Her face was calm, but her eyes carried fear. "I got the same message," she said. "They're watching everything." They sat together, the drive resting on the table between them. Keanu spoke first. "We can't go to the police yet. We don't even know what's on this." Anna nodded. "My father left it for a reason. Maybe it's proof, maybe it's something bigger." Keanu connected the drive to his laptop. At first, the screen showed static, then a folder appeared labeled Truth Archive. Inside were several video clips from years ago, behind-the-scenes footage from his first film. They watched quietly as one clip loaded. It showed a stunt accident. Cables snapped, sparks flew, and chaos erupted. Keanu was off camera, but someone shouted his name. Then came the voice of Marcus Hale saying, "I'll take it. Tell them it was my mistake." The screen glitched and another man appeared, someone they both recognized. It was the same producer who now financed Ballerina. Keanu leaned closer. That can't be him. He wasn't even part of the first film. Anna frowned. He was under a different name. My father mentioned a man who forced him to stay silent. Suddenly, the laptop froze. Lines of code flashed across the screen and the file deleted itself. A new message appeared, "Stop looking." Anna slammed the laptop shut. "They're inside the system." Keanu took a deep breath. "Then we go offline, no phones, no emails. We find the truth ourselves." They packed quickly and left the apartment, heading toward a place only Anna knew, a small cabin near Malibu that once belonged to her father. There, surrounded by the ocean and silence, they searched through boxes of his old notes. Among them, they found a photograph, Marcus standing beside the same producer, years younger, smiling for a camera labeled Studio Archives, Project Dancer. Anna whispered, "He knew this man was corrupt. That's why he hid the truth." Keanu looked at the horizon, the waves crashing against the rocks. He sacrificed everything to protect someone he barely knew. And now they're trying to erase him again. Night fell over the cabin. The wind howled and Keanu sat near the window, lost in thought. Anna slept on the couch, the drive hidden beneath a pile of papers. Outside, a faint red light blinked in the distance like a camera lens. Keanu stepped outside, his instincts sharp. The light vanished. He walked toward the trees, the sand crunching under his boots. Then a phone rang from somewhere near the shore. He followed the sound and found a single phone half buried in the sand. The screen lit up with one message, "You're next." He looked around. No one was there. Only the dark waves and the sound of the wind. Back inside, Anna woke up and saw him standing at the door, pale and silent. "What happened?" she asked. Keanu handed her the phone. "They found us." Before she could respond, the cabin lights flickered. A vehicle stopped outside. Headlights cut through the fog and the sound of footsteps echoed on the porch. Someone knocked 3 times. The truth revealed the knocks echoed through the small cabin, slow and deliberate. Keanu motioned Anna to stay behind the table as he stepped toward the door. The air was thick with tension. He opened it slightly, just enough to see a figure standing outside under the dim porch light. It was a man in a dark coat, his face hidden under a hood. The man raised his hands slowly. "I'm not here to hurt you," he said quietly. "But you both need to listen." Keanu's voice was firm. "Who are you?" The man pulled down his hood. His face was lined, his eyes tired. "My name is Ethan. I worked with Marcus Hale. I was there the night of the accident." Anna stood up, her expression hard. "Then you know the truth?" Ethan nodded. "Yes, and I also know why your father took the blame. It wasn't just for Keanu." He stepped inside slowly, closing the door behind him. The wind outside howled like a warning. "Your father discovered something bigger that night," Ethan continued. "The accident wasn't an accident. The cables were cut." Anna's eyes widened. "Cut by who?" Ethan sighed deeply. "The same man producing your new film. He sabotaged the set to force Marcus out because Marcus refused to sign a false insurance claim. When it went wrong, your father stepped in and took the blame to protect the young actor, Keanu, whose name was on every headline that day. It saved the studio and your career, Keanu. But it cost him everything." Keanu's breath caught in his throat. The weight of guilt he carried for years now felt unbearable. "Why didn't you come forward before?" Ethan shook his head. "Because I tried, and they buried my testimony. They threatened my family. I left the industry and disappeared. But when I saw Ballerina announced under the same producer, I knew he was hiding something again." Anna clenched her fists. "We have proof. My father's drive still has pieces of the truth." Ethan looked at the drive on the table. "Then guard it with your life. They'll do anything to destroy it." Before they could say another word, the sound of a car engine roared outside. Bright headlights pierced through the windows. Ethan turned quickly. "They found us. Give me the drive. I'll lead them away." Anna shook her head. "No, we're in this together." But Ethan was already moving. He grabbed the drive, looked at Keanu, and said, "Make sure her father's name is cleared. Tell his story." Then he ran out into the fog. Keanu and Anna crouched near the window as 2 black cars screeched to a halt outside. Men in suits stepped out, flashlights scanning the trees. Gunfire erupted. The night exploded with chaos. Anna whispered, "We have to go." They slipped out through the back door, running down the narrow trail toward the cliffs. Behind them, the cabin burned. Flames rose high, lighting the dark sky. They reached the edge of the cliffs where the sea roared below. Keanu looked back and saw the figures chasing them. Anna stumbled and he caught her hand. "Jump," he said. "What?" she gasped. "Trust me," he said softly. Without another word, they leapt into the cold black waves as the world behind them burned. Hours later, they crawled out onto a deserted stretch of beach, soaked and shivering. The sky had turned pale gray and the sound of distant sirens echoed faintly. Anna looked at him, exhausted but alive. "We lost the drive." Keanu shook his head. "No." Ethan switched it. He pulled out a small waterproof case from his jacket. Inside was the real drive. Anna smiled faintly, tears mixing with seawater. "So what now?" Keanu looked toward the horizon, where the first light of dawn touched the water. "Now," he said quietly, "we finish what your father started." But behind them, half buried in the sand, a phone vibrated again. A message appeared on the screen from the unknown number. The truth will never reach them. The final act, the morning sun rose over the ocean, painting the waves with a soft golden glow. Keanu and Anna sat near the rocks, exhausted but alive. The world behind them burned with secrets, yet before them stretched a calm horizon that whispered of hope. Anna looked at the waterproof case in Keanu's hands. It was small, simple, but inside it held the truth that had destroyed her father's life. "We can't keep running," she said quietly. "If we stay silent, they win again." Keanu nodded slowly. "Then we go public. No studio, no middlemen, just truth." They made their way to an old friend of Keanu's, a retired journalist named Samir who now ran an independent digital channel. His office was tucked away in a quiet corner of Venice Beach, filled with old cameras and the smell of coffee. Samir greeted them with surprise. "Keanu Reeves in my small office. This must be serious." Anna stepped forward. "We have a story and proof. My father was framed and someone powerful made it happen." Samir listened carefully as Keanu explained everything, from the letter to the hidden drive, from the sabotage to Ethan's sacrifice. Samir's expression darkened as he scrolled through the recovered files from the drive. "This is solid," he said finally. "Video proof, documents, names. If we publish this, it will shake the industry." Keanu's voice was calm. "Then do it. Let the truth speak." Samir hesitated. "Once this goes live, you can't undo it. They'll come for both of you." Anna met Keanu's eyes. "We're not afraid anymore." That night, the video went live. It was titled "The Truth Behind Project Dancer." The footage showed the original accident, the producer's cover-up, and Marcus Hale's selfless act to protect a young actor's life. Millions watched within hours. The internet exploded with support, outrage, and tears. Keanu spoke at the end of the video, his voice steady. "This is not about fame. It's about the man who believed that kindness still matters. Marcus Hale showed me what humanity truly means. This is his story, not mine." The next morning, the headlines filled every news outlet. "Truth revealed, producer exposed in decades-old cover-up." The studio shut down its project temporarily. The producer was arrested for corporate fraud and endangerment. And for the first time, the world knew the name Marcus Hale, a man who had given everything for someone else's future. Anna stood on a quiet balcony overlooking the sea, watching the sunrise. Tears glistened in her eyes, but this time they were not of sorrow, they were of peace. Keanu joined her, standing silently beside her. "Your father would be proud," Keanu said softly. Anna smiled. "He believed in kindness, now the world does too." A gentle breeze moved through the air. Keanu took out a small folded letter, the same one Marcus had written years ago. He placed it on the balcony railing, letting the wind carry it away over the waves. "Thank you," he whispered. Weeks later, at the premiere of Ballerina, the crowd filled the theater. But this time, the film opened with a dedication. "In memory of Marcus Hale, the quiet hero who believed truth never dies." As the lights dimmed, Keanu and Anna sat side by side. She reached out, holding his hand for a moment. "We did it," she whispered. He smiled gently. "No, he did." The film played, blending art with truth, pain with beauty. And somewhere in the quiet hum of the crowd, it felt as if Marcus himself was there, watching, proud, and finally at peace. The story that began with silence ended with a voice that could never again be silenced.